If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing.
You're called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
did you just say I should?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should? On live TV.
In today's video, Mehdi Hasan clashes fiercely with Ryan Gardusky in a heated debate on Zato. Mehdi refuses to let the right-wing commentator slide after he openly pushes racist ideas on live television. The second Ryan crosses the line, turning a real discussion about Palestinian rights into a hidden threat. Everything changes in the room and the tension rises fast. So let's jump in and see how Mehdi Hasan shuts down Ryan Gardusky right in front of everyone on Zato.
I have interviewed, debated, sparred with controversial, opinionated, offensive people from across the world. Sitting presidents and prime ministers, former directors of the CIA and Mossad, Trump officials, Biden officials, a Netanyahu spokesman, a Hamas spokesman, an IRA leader, Vivek Ramaswamy. But never in my 25 years as a journalist and 15 years of doing live TV have I been so stunned by what was said to me that I had to walk off set in the middle of a live show, as I did on Monday night on CNN in New York when this happened.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing.
You're called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is
did
that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should be killed? On live TV?
Yes, that was far-right pundit Ryan Gardusky reacting to me saying I support Palestinians by basically inciting violence against me, suggesting I might be blown up in the way that Hezbollah members and Lebanese civilians were blown up via their beepers by Israel in what the former CIA chief Leon Panetta called a clear terrorist attack. That's what Gardusky casually suggested might happen to me. J.D. Vance associate Ryan Gardusky, Trump supporter Ryan Gardusky. Because in his head, when he hears Palestinian, he hears Hamas. When he sees a Muslim in front of him, he sees Hamas. Now, he and his right-wing friends are saying, I called all Republicans Nazis, which, of course, I didn't. Although apparently white supremacist Richard Spencer claims Gardusky used to write for him. What I did say was that if you don't want to be called a Nazi, don't say Nazi-like things, as was said at the Trump rally in New York on Sunday. Jews are cheap, black people like watermelons, Muslims are terrorists. And this guy's response to that was to imply I'm a terrorist who might be killed by Israel. A line that wasn't a joke, and that he almost certainly came pre-prepared with, thinking he could get away with it on live national television.
The crazy part is this did not happen in some hidden Telegram group or unknown corner of the internet. It happened on CNN in front of millions of people. That alone shows how confident and bold some people have become. Since Trump made open Islamophobia and enemy of the people talk seem normal, these voices now act untouchable, saying harmful and racist things, yet still getting invited back as political experts. And when you look at the bigger picture, hate crimes against Muslims in the U.S. have risen sharply. FBI numbers show that 2023 had one of the biggest increases in anti-Muslim cases in more than 10 years, including vandalism, harassment, and deadly attacks. This is not happening randomly. It is being fueled by the same type of language Mehdi just faced on live TV. And Mehdi's point about how society gives permission for racism is completely right. When leaders like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump hide bigotry behind free speech claims, they are not supporting open debate. They are giving space to extremists who treat Muslim, black, and immigrant Americans like enemies. That is not politics. That is dehumanizing people from a national stage. So this moment is not only about one commentator crossing the line, it is about a culture where hate talk has become entertainment and the people being targeted are expected to stay silent. Mehdi walking off set was not unprofessional, it was self-respect.
That's how bold these MAGA Republicans have become with their racism. That's the permission structure Trump and Vance have created, with the help of some in our media who've just happily platformed it. But as shocked and stunned as I was, there was no way I was going to let him say that to me unchallenged. And I'm glad to see CNN has since banned him from their airwaves, and I appreciate host Abby Phillip apologizing to the viewers and to me after I walked off set. I do want to do a shout-out here, by the way, to my fellow panelist Ashley Allison, a former Biden-Harris 2020 campaign staffer who was with me on that panel.
What you just said
Kamala
right
Harris
here,
is a pimp.
apologize, but I will tell you, I don't accept that apology, and you didn't even say it to
fine.
me.
I didn't say it
that
to
was
you.
disgusting, but I can be offended when you don't even say it to me. I'm not Puerto Rican, but I was offended by what he said yesterday.
Where would we be as a country without black women holding the line against racism and bigotry and showing us what solidarity looks like? If Harris wins next week, it'll be partly because of her fellow black women holding that line. And if she loses, and to be clear, because of her refusal to budge even an inch on Gaza, Harris morally deserves to lose. We will get a Trump presidency, a white supremacist presidency, an anti-black, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic presidency, in which people like the bigot I had to deal with on CNN will be emboldened like never before. They won't just be running their mouths on TV panels against public figures like me. They'll be at your kid's school gate. They'll be at your grocery store. They'll be in your subway car, proudly and shamelessly saying this stuff to you, too. They'll also be in charge of US foreign policy, egging on Israel to do more beeper attacks, even more acts of terror, egging on Trump and Vance to be more racist, more violent, both at home and abroad. A white liberal friend of mine, while sending me a very supportive text yesterday, asked me in good faith, is it emotionally taxing to face this bigotry? Or is it par for the course at this point? To which my answer is, sadly, we Muslims don't have thicker skins than everyone else. Nor should we have to have thicker skins than everyone else.
This moment on TV reveals far more about America today than just a tense exchange on CNN. Mehdi Hasan was not simply reacting in anger. He was highlighting how deeply accepted prejudice has become in mainstream spaces. When a commentator feels comfortable making a so-called joke about harming a Muslim journalist on live television and assumes people will find it clever, that is not shock value. That is the result of years of far-right rhetoric being treated as normal political debate. This climate did not appear overnight. With figures like Trump and J.D. Vance shaping public conversation, the boundaries of acceptable speech have shifted dramatically. Since 2016, FBI data shows anti-Muslim hate crimes in the U.S. have surged, and reports from civil rights groups note that 2023 marked the highest recorded level of anti-Muslim incidents, from threats and bullying to actual violence. When leaders talk about Muslim bans or question whether Muslims belong in this country, it filters into society, and moments like this become possible on national television. Mehdi also pointed out the critical role black women play in resisting hate and protecting democracy, a pattern proven by decades of activism, from the civil rights era to the pivotal voter mobilization efforts in recent elections. And Ashley Allison, calling out that ugly remark immediately on air, showed what real courage and solidarity look like. This cycle is not new. Once hate speech becomes normal, whether aimed at Muslims, Jewish communities, or Black Americans, it spreads into schools, neighborhoods, and everyday life. If Trump or Vance returned to power, this hostility would not stay verbal. It would become policy. Mehdi is right. Muslims should not need thicker skin to exist in the public sphere. Journalists and ordinary people deserve safety, not survival mode. And the sooner media outlets stop giving hate a microphone in the name of balance, the better chance this country has of finding moral clarity again.
We're human beings, so of course it's emotionally taxing. That's the whole point. That's why they do it. Racism is about not just dehumanizing you, but demoralizing you and depressing you. It's about beating you down and keeping you on the defensive, forcing you to fight an uphill battle, and apparently even threatening you with a terrorist attack. As the one and only Toni Morrison so wisely, so eloquently, so rightly said, the function, the very serious function of racism is distraction. It keeps you from doing your work. It keeps you explaining over and over again your reason for being. Well, to be clear, less than a week out from the most consequential election of our lifetimes, with genocide on the ballot, yes, but also fascism plus genocide on the ballot, I'm in no mood to explain myself to the racists and bullies, but I will continue to speak out. I will continue to do the work. And so should you.
What Mehdi is talking about goes way beyond a tense moment on television. He is calling out the way racism is used as a weapon, not just to insult someone, but to slowly grind them down, break their confidence, and push them out of public spaces through constant pressure and humiliation. And the evidence backs him up. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that repeated exposure to discrimination triggers long-term stress responses similar to trauma. This is not about hurt feelings. It is an emotional and psychological assault meant to make people withdraw from public life. Data also reflects this reality. According to the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding, Muslims in America report the highest levels of religious discrimination, with nearly 6 out of 10 saying they experienced bias in the last year. And it is not only violent attacks, it is the steady drip of being treated as suspicious, unwelcome, or foreign in your own country. That is exactly what Mehdi means when he says racism is a distraction. It forces people to waste energy defending their basic humanity rather than doing the real work. Journalism, activism, truth-telling, building community, and demanding justice. And his warning about where this leads is not dramatic, it is historical fact. We have seen this pattern before, from McCarthyism to the post-9/11 era to modern political movements that rely on fear of Muslims and immigrants to hold power. First, the hate becomes socially acceptable, then it becomes policy, and eventually it becomes a weapon against anyone who dares speak out. So when Mehdi says he will no longer prove his humanity to bigots, that is not anger, it is self-preservation. Confronting hate is not about being tougher. It is about refusing to let cruelty decide the rules of the conversation. And honestly, many people in media still have a lot to learn from that truth.